What is going on? Welcome back to another episode of MMA Circle of Debate, Championship on the Line, recap, episode 13. Every kick, punch, submission, or scorecard has the opportunity to change the future, to change the world of MMA. From the main event of a pay-per-view all the way down to the Ultimate Fighter exhibition matches. And December 11th sent shockwaves through the MMA universe. And I'm here for it. Every card changes history, and history's been made. I'm just wow. I can't wait to see who everybody picked. Can't wait to see who was right, who was wrong, who gets to retain, or if there will be an and new Tapology prediction championship. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
How's it going, man? So
you guys
recap.
Yeah, did you watch the whole card or just the main event? Who got down on the 7-hour event?
I saw the prelims. I just didn't watch the early prelims, but I watched the regular prelims and the main card.
Okay, cool. Ivan, you only watched the prelims. You didn't watch the main card.
I watched the prelims and I watched the main card.
Awesome.
But the prelims was awesome. I can tell you that right now, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It was. I enjoyed it. That could have been potential main cards, all of them, honestly. But at
least on an ESPN card for sure. That's what I love. Is these ESPN cards are good enough to be prelims on pay-per-views and vice versa. Which is why I'm glad we have at least 3 different formats of UFC and MMA right now. We have pay-per-views, we have the Contender Series, we have Ultimate Fighter coming back, and we have the ESPN pretty much free almost every single weekend. And I watch all of it. I think most of us do. And just, I'm still in shock. I'm just like, wow. There's a lot of pieces shattered into a million. Just in 2022 is going to have to pick them up. It's going to be wild. Let's get to the scores. I have everybody's Tapology results. And I actually don't have Richards on here, brother. What'd you do? You didn't put him in?
No, most too late.
Yeah.
I know. I was kicking myself when I was like, shoot, I forgot.
I did mine like at
It's your fault, Ivan.
Sure, blame Ivan.
Because you're pressuring him. You gave him too much pressure. All right.
No way.
Richard backed out because he was scared. He didn't want to
What?
compete.
No, I'm scared.
He was scared.
Apparently.
You put too much pressure on him, Ivan, because you're like, oh, he needs to win. And he couldn't handle it, Ivan. That's the truth. He couldn't handle it.
I really
Or versus Randy, or was it Tito? Was it Tito or Randy where he didn't come out of the trailer for like 25 minutes? I think it was Tito. Yeah. Anyways, well then on that note, I will start with the devious one, Ivan, who I have your scores right here, and let's just get down and dirty. Let me bring up the full screen. There we go. All right, man. So the main card started with Sean O'Malley versus Raulian Paiva. You had picked Sean O'Malley by decision. Obviously, we got that KO in the first. Did you think Paiva was good enough to just withstand 15 minutes, or O'Malley just couldn't hang and had to whittle out the D?
Well, to be honest, I feel like this fight was a challenge for Sean O'Malley because with Paiva's credentials that he has, and he's a great striker too. But I can tell you honestly, this fight, Sean O'Malley outboxed him automatically. He caught him clean with that hook, and I was just like, whoa! It shocked me. I was like, oh shit! Like already so early. I swear I expected Paiva to put up a fight, but no, he got caught. Matty got him in the corner, he caught him, and that was it. That was a wrap, and I was happy for Sean. Yeah, that's why I chose decision, because I'm like, okay, maybe it's gonna be upcoming. It's gonna be a challenge for Sean, but unfortunately, it looks like it wasn't. So good for him, and good for him. And I mean, hopefully, Paiva goes back on the drawing board and see what his mistakes, and then come back in the ranks.
Cool. I just opened up like so many windows just to keep up to date. Second fight of the main card, you had Cody Garbrandt versus Kycar France. You had Kycar France by TKO in round 2, and that is pretty close to what happened. TKO in the first one for Kai, and I forgot to hit that timer, so let's do that. Go for it. If it wants to.
Yeah.
Fuck it, just go.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Kycar, France, I mean, come on, the guy is deadly, man. He's another upcoming individual, and I mean, it was expected, especially Cody, moving into that division for the first time. It just Cody doesn't have a chin, man. It's just that he needs to. If I was Garbrandt, I mean, I don't know what's he waiting for, but I think he should hang those gloves because
already
it's about time.
Kid's young, man. Kid's barely. I don't even think he's 30. He just turned 30 this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's just that the momentum is gone now, and it sucks, and especially he was trying to prove himself into this new weight class division. Well, welcome to the flyweight division, buddies. This is what happened. So I mean,
yeah, I want to talk. Just throw this number out there right now. In the last 5 years, Cody Garbrandt is 1 win, 5 losses, 4 knockouts, 1 decision, all before his, roughly before his 30th birthday. I mean, I'd have to go look and compare that to like early Alistair Overeem's record and see how he was doing around that age. Obviously at a much higher weight class at 205 for most of his career, but Cody might be considered the lighter weight Alistair right now. So a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions for that guy, and a lot of questions for Kycar France. And we'll do our rankings prediction at the end of the show so we can kind of see where people's trajectories are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, I love doing that. Next fight, you had Jeff Neal over Santiago Ponzinibio by decision. You got that perfect. You got that by decision, and that is exactly what happened.
Oh man, Jeff Neal. I was praying for him to actually put up a fight, which he did. And I was shocking to me. Santiago, I know he had the second round, but after that, the third round, obviously Jeff took over, and I was happy for Neal to win, and it was
close.
It was close. It was pretty close the third round, the last. But I got to give it to both of these individuals. But I'm glad that at least Neal got the win. He is not going to be cut, So that's the one thing. At least he's staying. So good for him. And I was expecting him to improve and to win this fight. So I'm happy for Jeff.
Cool. Love that. We're already at the co-main event of the night. Motherfucker. We had Amanda Nunes versus Juliana, the Venezuelan Vixen Pena. You had Nunes by submission by round 2. You were close. You were 50-50 right on that. We all know what happened. It went the other direction. Talk to me about that very sound and rational logic you have behind that decision, my friend.
When I saw that, and when I saw that punch that Pena gave to Nunes, and then,
you mean that jab like Usman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then just had it on the ground. I was like, holy shit, this is not happening right now. And I'm like, I'm working, I'm watching, like, oh shit, I just went fucking ballistic. And I couldn't believe she submitted. But you know what? I wish Coach was here on the show, because he mentioned it last week on the prediction show. That it basically, Nunes, she's becoming more of a family person, and that this kind of affected her too. This is, I don't know, for me, this is my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion, but it didn't seem like to me she was really trying. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm seeing something wrong, but I don't feel like she was really trying on this fight. I think she's like, okay, I got this. I'll play with her the first round. Then second round, I'll get into it, into my momentum. But look, she got caught.
It's like losing didn't exist in her mind.
Right, exactly. And look what happened. She got caught. And
in a way, sort of never should, but there's a realistic expectation that it could.
Yeah,
but it's almost like she underestimated her too, which that's a big no. You don't do that.
Yeah, there's. I'll get to my talking points, but I'm not too far off of that theory.
Yeah, no, but I agree. And then, hopefully with this loss for Nunes, gives her the fire that we want to see, like the old Nunes, like hungry and just go and just full of rage and come back, rematch, and take the belt back. And I'm hoping this loss is a wake up call for her. I've been like, hey, you need to get your shit together and, step it up again. Don't let the family, if you're going to be fighting in UFC, you cannot let the family get them too much involved. You cannot let, the the popularity get too much in your head, and that's what I feel like it overwhelmed her with that, and that's why she lost this fight.
Right. Yeah, that could be it. She did seem a little relieved at the end of it, or just extremely humble. I don't want to think that she was distracted. You know, we can compare something like that to like Woodley, where he definitely was overbooked outside of the octagon. I don't think that was the case for her. Obviously, family is important.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I have some theories, and I'll get to them when it is my turn. Main event of the night: Charlie Olives versus Dustin Diamond. I mean, the Diamond Poirier. You had Oliveira by decision. It went to 2, I believe, and a submission for Oliveira. Talk about that decision. Not entirely unreasonable.
Man,
it went to 3. Sorry, round 3.
Yeah, I was so happy that he won, because now he proved himself now why he's a lightweight champion for a reason. So now, and especially beating a high caliber like Dustin Poirier, and puts another in the books for Oliveira. And now he makes him the, pound for pound lightweight champion for sure. And it was scary, not gonna lie. It was kind of a scary moment because, Dustin had his number for a bit, but obviously Oliveira came back, and I was surprised he hung on into that chokehold until he brought him down. And it just shocked me. I was like, oh my God, I fucking like, I lost it. I was just like, yes. And everybody's like, what? Why are you so excited? A boy won. He proved himself. I told you, Alex, he's going to prove himself. He didn't believe me. He deserves to be the lightweight champion. And that's why he is a pound for pound lightweight champion, brother. That's why.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
you don't think he's a pound for pound lightweight champ?
No. For pound, number 1? No way.
Lightweight champion right now?
Yeah, but he said pound for pound number 1, right? Or are you saying lightweight?
He said pound for pound lightweight. He's taking it from. He's taking it from like interim to undisputed.
Oh, okay, no, yeah.
Which is,
I thought you meant like pound for pound rankings.
Right. I mean, technically, he is the best lightweight in the world. So
yeah,
cool. All right, cool, man. Appreciate that. So, Ivan, you had 11 of 14 correct, starting off hot with a total of 666 points. Damn, that's not bad, bro. That's pretty good. Obviously, that counts all the prelims that we don't talk about because it's only an hour-long show. I ain't running no 3-hour Chael Sonnen podcast over here. You're welcome. Let's go with the next on the board with some actual scores. Let's go with Alex. I have your card pulled up right here. And
damn, that's too bad we can't see them.
I get lazy sometimes. It's a lot of graphical work. OBS is kind of, I got so much time in the day, but you can trust it. These are correct. I'm not lying to you.
No, I'm pretty sure you're saving the winner for last when it comes to.
No, I'm only going last because I'm defending. Like the final walkout. But they don't always, you know what I'm saying. All right, man. First fight of the night: Sean O'Malley versus Ryvan Paiva. You had O'Malley, just like Ivan, TKO round 2, got stopped in the first with a flurry and a layup or jump shot. I don't know. Basketball's weird. Talk about that fight for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agreed. I think Paiva's is his toughest test, in my opinion, besides Marlon.
On paper, I definitely think so.
Yeah, and Paiva was on a winning streak. I mean, he was beating some tough guys. I mean, I think he even had his last win he was over Kyler Phillips, which Kyler Phillips was, to me, I think he's a really tough lightweight, and Paiva, made it look kind of easy. And O'Malley, man, it's just his stand-up is just getting better and better and better and better every single time he fights. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. He's so fast, and you just don't know what he's gonna throw, and he mixes it up so well. And Paiva just didn't have an answer. And I don't think Paiva's ever fought a guy like O'Malley. So when you fight someone and you're seeing something new for the first time, it's like, wait, whoa, shoot, where is this coming from? Where's that kick coming from? Where's that knee coming from? Where's that punch? And, knocked him out in the first round. That's all she wrote.
That is exactly all she wrote, with style points for sure. I do appreciate how humble O'Malley can be in his post fights. Yeah. And then, obviously he does his podcast where he just talks all the shit in the world. So I'm excited to see some highlights on his Instagram about this one. That's kind of what he does is he plays the nice guy in the ring and then goes and full Connors it up online. That's what the kids today do. It's what works. That's why we're talking about them. Next fight of the night was Cody Garbrandt, Kycar France. Again, you had Kycar by TKO in round 2. It happened in round 1. Talk about that.
Yeah, Kycar France, his stand-up is really good too. And I just knew if they were going to slug it out, I think Kycar had that advantage because I don't think he's taken enough damage as much as Cody Garbrandt has. And the fact is that it's a good win for Kycar France. Obviously, it's a good name for his resume. He moves up in the rankings. But then also the other side of Garbrandt, it's one of those things that's kind of very, very sad to see him fight. And we know how talented he is. He's a former world champion, and he can't even beat the top 5 guys or top 10 guys in the world anymore, which is kind of sad to see. And the only thing I would like to see Garbrandt is, and Rage said this last time, and it's true what he said is that he splits his camps. So he splits with Mark Henry and Team Alpha Male. And when you have 2 coaches that don't work together, it's kind of, one guy saying this one thing, one guy saying this thing, and it's very confusing. If you're a fighter, it's very confusing to who to listen to, because you have one head coach, you have another head coach. And I think for now, I just think he's going to have to really change his whole training camp. And I think he's going to have to change styles, honestly. You can't brawl like that anymore. Can't take it. You got to fight a safer way, more defensive, move your head, a lot of defense, and to his style, because I just think right now brawling just not working out for him. Like he said, he's 1-5, and he's really got to evaluate everything and go back to and just change everything, in my opinion. I would like to see him fight maybe one more, but if he loses, I think.
Do you like him at 25, or do you want him to go back up to 35?
I think he should go back.
Back to 35?
Yeah. I think that's where his power is.
There was a lot of complimentary things said about how well his weight cut went and how good he looked, and he was able to walk around and flex. I thought he looked worse than Conor did when Conor was cutting down to 45. I thought his cheekbones looked sucked in. I thought he looked weak. Obviously, I'm not a fighter. I know Cody doesn't really have much of a wrestling background, so I don't know how intuitive his body is to weight cutting, considering that this is 10 more pounds off of 145 or off of 135. So that's roughly 10% of his body weight. And I'm sure he was cutting a little bit to get to 35, but now he's cutting an additional 10 pounds. And that's, on a small frame like that, and they're still doing it the day before weight. I don't know if your fat and water and tissue has enough time to recover to protect triggers and targets. That seems like it makes sense that if you diminish the defenses in the organs alone, that you're just more compromised when you're, his cheekbones were just really bad. And again, what do I know when the commentary team, especially Joe Rogan, were like, "Oh, Cody, you look great, weigh-ins and blah blah blah." I'm like, all right, I didn't think so, but cool.
Yeah, I like Kycar France.
Oh yeah, I love it. Almost everybody at City Kickboxing right now. I can't think of anyone I don't like. I can just only name 3 people.
But imagine the future though, like him against Moreno.
Oh yeah, at the post fight, someone had brought up to Dana that they said that Kycar is not going to fight anyone unless it's for a title fight, and Dana White kind of scoffed that off, because I know that number 6 right now is Brandon Royval, and I think Kai lost to Brandon in one of his 2 fights ago. So I don't think that beating Cody's first, I don't think he'll win over Cody, who's a former champion in another division.
He needs a couple more. Yeah,
that's not title fight worthy in my opinion. No. Cody's a great fighter. Maybe if this is back up at 35. For sure, but there's literally 5 guys ahead of you, and maybe don't sit out, the next year, unless you can, unless you got
he's saying that unless because he has that win over Brandon. That's way. That's what
he lost to Brandon though.
No, Moreno.
No, he lost to both Brandons. He lost both to Brandon Royval and to Moreno.
Did he lose to him? What did he
lost? Yeah, he lost to both Brandons in that division.
Oh no, you're right.
And he's only on a 2-fight winning streak. One of those is debuting in the division, who's already on a 1-5 losing streak. So, no, I do not absolutely think that that's close to being a title shot worthy.
No,
good performance. Definitely should put him in the top 5. Only problem is Royval is number 5 right now, according to the rankings, which are updated as of today. So,
okay. All
right. I see Sean O'Malley debuted at 13. So these rankings are as of post fight. So we're pretty good on that. All right, co-main event. Actually, no, sorry. Ponzinibio versus Jeff Neal. Yeah, Ponzinibio TKO round 2. Not impossible due to tactical knockout artist with a lot of power. Jeff Neal got the D though. So talk us through that one.
First off, I think if anyone should get a bonus is Jeff Neal's head coach. Because, geez, the motivation on that speech. I mean, geez, I would have loved to have a coach like that if I was in high school. I mean, geez, the way he pumped them up and just finished that third round on top, and it was just awesome to see. But, yeah, like I said, I thought Ponzinibio was going to win. I just thought he had enough power to – honestly, I think he has enough power to knock out anyone. But Jeff is so tough. And you could tell, like, if Neal would have lost, I think he would have been released, and he was fighting for his job. That would have been 3 in a row. But to be fair, the other 2 losses, I mean, high level, top contenders,
But yeah, probably the way that the influx of new and old fighters coming and going, 3 would have probably been in that division because there's no lack of talent in that division right now.
Mm-hmm. And it just showed how much heart Neal has, and it's a good win for him. And can't wait, his next fight, because if he's going to bring that much, energy and heart to his next fight, I think he's a very dangerous fighter to be fighting. So I definitely can't wait for his next fight. And sitting Ponzinibio too. I mean, like I said, it was a close fight. I don't think it was a terrible performance. Ponzinibio, it could have gone. Some people they thought Ponzinibio even won that fight. So, we'll see for both these guys because they're both exciting. And can't wait.
And I mean, Ponzinibio is only like let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's won 8 of his last 10. That's his job is in no way in jeopardy in my opinion. Co-main event of the night. You had the Lioness Amanda Nunes by TKO round 4.
I think we all had Nunes, honestly.
Again, not an irrational thought process behind that, but let's hear it. Let's hear your thoughts on that banger.
I guess the only way to beat Nunes is to have a chin, pretty much, because Nunes hit over everything and did not put Pena down. The fact that the jab was so key, the jab was just on point. There was no head movement on Nunes. It was surprising because, like, it was the second round, right, that she finished her.
Yes.
It was crazy because, like, it was almost like Nunes was slowing down and she was pretty much tired and gassed out, which was crazy to kind of see. But Pena was looking good, throwing the jab, and just it's crazy just watching her. She was just throwing whatever she could just land, and she was landing all the punches. And looked good. She took her down, and it was it was awesome to see. Definitely a great upset, probably one of the best upsets. Probably, I mean, it'd probably be up there with Sarah and St. Pierre or Holly Holm and Rousey. Maybe even
that wasn't an upset. If you watched MMA and kickboxing, it's only an upset in the books.
But yeah,
I mean, if people were paying attention, that Holly Holm upset, not an upset. That was exactly how that fight should have happened. 1,000 out of 1,000 times.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 times, that's how that fight happened.
Yeah.
Just I'm proud. I mean, as big of a Nunes fan as I am. Yeah, me too. I'm like, that was a performance. It was no mistakes were made by Pena.
Especially that moment of her and Chiesa they had backstage.
Oh, I'll talk about that. Yeah, I know some down low dirt about that whole thing. I got a couple of random facts about the end of that fight I'd love to talk about when it's my turn. And the main event, you had Poirier by TKO round 2. Not crazy, man. Guy's got hands. We saw what he's done to Connor and other people that stand with him, but it's not what happened that night. We had Oliveira by sub round 2. So tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in the beginning it was going Poirier's way. I thought it was for sure win, just like I thought Chandler too. Both of them were beating Oliveira in the beginning, and somehow Oliveira wins at the end. And it's I don't know what it is. I just think he just has a lot of heart, and he's just a real warrior, and he'll find a way to survive and then finish you, which is crazy. Because 1 minute it looks like he's out, and then he taps you out, and he's a champ still. So it's it's crazy to see. But honestly, I don't think it was Oliver's best performance. I think if he does that,
really, even that first round,
Oliver was getting lit up.
He was getting lit up from standing in Dustin
Poirier
raining
was
elbows
beating
for
him
like
up.
4.5 minutes
Well, Poirier was beating him up
for maybe
in the stand-up. I'm talking about
for
stand-up,
two
like
for 2
boxing.
minutes of the
Poirier
first
was
round. Yeah,
punching him. Yeah, that's what
but
I'm
I'd
talking
almost
about.
consider that like a 10, 8.5 round for Oliveira based on just that guard game where
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, if he does that with Gaethje, he can't do that with Gaethje. I think if Gaethje lands, he'll knock him out.
Yeah, but MMA math, Poirier knocked out Gaethje.
Yeah, but
So,
Gaethje's changed from that,
The
though.
MMA map doesn't work.
I know MMA math doesn't work. That's
It
why I
doesn't
said it. My favorite case for MMA math is Ronda beat Tate, Tate beat Holly, Holly beat Ronda, Nunes beat them all. So it's like it clearly doesn't work when you have that cyclical, and then Pena beat Nunes, but Shevchenko beat Pena, but then Nunes beat Shevchenko. It's like, no, it does not work at all. Completely false. All right, so let's go with Mr. I didn't put my scores in, Richard. I don't know what you picked, so just talk about the first night. I don't know who you picked for the
for O'Malley and Paiva.
For O'Malley, yeah.
Yeah, I picked
Paiva,
Paiva.
yeah.
I thought, he was well-rounded enough and had enough experience to at least go to decision. I think most of his wins are by decision. So I'm like, I think he'll take it maybe in the later rounds, maybe the second, third round and get enough, to beat O'Malley. But
right.
I mean, we know how good this guy is and he's getting better and better. And even Dana confirmed that his contract is ended. So now I think they're going to renew it and he's going to get paid and get better fighters. Give him O'Malley. It's like, okay, I think I'm proving myself. I want to fight better contenders and get, in line at a championship shot. So hopefully soon. I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, I kind of a guy like you want to say, like, you love to hate.
Yeah.
I love to hate him, but I mean, he's proving himself every fight.
I'm back and forth. Like I said, I like it when he's in the ring, but then when I watch his sound bites on his podcasts, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, God damn it, man. Now I don't know what to feel. Now I don't know if I'm going to Cody Garbrandt versus Kycar France. Who'd you pick and talk about what actually happened?
Kycar France. I believe I had Kycar France by this decision. I think just Garbrandt, some fights change you and you're not the same and he's just never really recovered. I'm trying to think of while you guys were talking, I was thinking of fighters that kind of like peaked maybe too early or around 30 or 31 years old that just went downhill. Like example, I would say would be BJ Penn. I mean, BJ Penn's last one was like 2010. He was like 31. And ever since then, he just went on a losing streak. Another guy that was a top, not as a champion, but a top contender was Melvin Gullard.
Oh, yeah.
His
head got to him.
Oh, yeah. And then he just hasn't been the same at 30. His last big one was probably when he was like 30, 31. And after that, he just was in a losing streak of I don't know how many matches at this point. I mean, he's lost last 6 fights, and then he's lost in bare knuckle fighting. I mean, the guy just can't catch a break and want to fight.
Yeah.
And I just hope he doesn't head to that point where he's just trying to fight and, trying to get some quick paydays. I don't think he's going to do that, but I really don't know. I mean, maybe he just needs a break and maybe comes back in a couple of years. Maybe he just needs that. I mean, he's still a young fighter. Like you were saying, he's only 30 years old.
Yeah, this year.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, I don't really know what to do.
I got one for you because I like to call TJ Dillashaw the soul taker. We saw what happened to Henan Barao after he got in the ring with TJ.
Mm-hmm.
It was never the same. Same thing exact happened. He lost like 9 out of his last 10, all before the a very young age. I'm sure late 20s, early 30s at best before that streak started.
Yeah.
TJ obviously coincidentally maybe did the same thing to Garbrandt, just got in his head. Cody could I don't think mentally can get out of that rut, which again, I'll talk about when it's my minute. So, Ponzinibio versus Jeff Neal.
Ponzinibio, I had him actually winning by decision. I thought Ponzinibio was going to do enough to beat Neal, but you can't count him out. I mean, it was a very close fight. Obviously, it was a split decision. Alex and I were excited watching, his coach kind of, lit a fire in his butt. Did enough in the 3rd round to take it. So, I mean, hats off to Jeff Neal.
Yeah, definitely the keep my job performance for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, just some fights are just like that. We've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah.
Where, we talk about if they lost this one, they would have been in Bellator or bare knuckle or something like that.
Yeah, because you don't want the next day. Word of the day is JOB. You go out there and look for a job.
Yeah, right. You see them on I hate when I wake up on Monday and I see 14 fighters released. I mean, I get it. At least it makes sense. It's not like when Vince just cuts his entire roster, but with fighters, again, it's just like, damn, who was it? And I have to go look up why, or, be like, oh, that makes sense, whatever. Or who. Co-main event of the night, Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, I think everyone had Nunes winning. I'll be a liar if everyone's like, oh, I had a feeling she was going to win, but Pena had a chance. I thought really early in her career, she was doing well. Everyone knows that, she came out of the Ultimate Fighter, and then he had some injuries in camps. I don't know if you know that, during one of her camps, she got injured by one of her teammates, and she was sidelined for a while. She fought like once a year.
And then she got into a situation. I believe this is her. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll look it up. I believe she got into a physical altercation with one of her coaches, and police were called because she fucked them up, and she got kicked out of her gym and had to find a new gym. I do believe that was Juliana Pena.
Yeah.
Something like that. I could have swore I remember Dana said that it was some like goofball training partner that jumped on her back and she injured her leg or something like that.
I mean,
there was a lot of jealousy on that camp from what I was reading. And she got the hell out of that camp and
looking that up right now because so that's exactly those stories are the same story. So some dude tried to be a little baller on her, fucked up her knee. Yeah. I think police were called. I think she left that gym. I don't know whose decision that was. Hopefully it was hers, because you don't want to be rolling with dudes who can fuck up permanent injuries. Obviously it was her knee. Sounds like assault to me, but how do you consider it assault in the gym? That's her quote. Get the fuck out of here. And then obviously she had a kid, she had a daughter who we saw ringside with her, which was an awesome moment because she is now the first biologically given birth mother champion in UFC. All respect to Amanda Nunes. Moms are all appreciated. Pena just had to separate the biological birth versus adopted birth. I don't know. I don't really care if there's a difference at all, but that was a point she had to make. So yeah.
No, for sure. It was a great moment, especially Miesha Tate was there too.
Oh God, she was freaking out, and I know why too. Miesha Tate has 3 reasons to freak out. She coached her on Ultimate Fighter. She by proxy got the revenge because Amanda Nunes lost her belt to Miesha Tate, or Miesha Tate lost to Amanda Nunes. I hate that feeling where someone's like, oh, you beat someone who beat me, I'm gonna cheer for you. I get it because you couldn't get the job done. But yeah, obviously she also was her coach on Ultimate Fighter, so that's definitely a proud moment for the Pacific Northwest, where they're both from. Actually, I think Miesha Tate was on Team Quest around the same time Pena was coming up. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's all cyclical, man. MMA math, it works. And then the main event. Actually, no, you didn't get to talk about what happened in the fight. So as you're watching it and then it happens, what's going through your mind?
I think Alex and I were there with friends and all saying the same thing, just waiting for one of them to fall because they were just throwing straight punches, trying to knock out each other. Scares me because I was just thinking, man, if Pena, I don't know. I just feel like maybe the key to beat Nunes was just to have, a strong chin and survive the barrage of punches in the first round and see if the gas tank kind of empties out, where Nunes' power and her arms kind of die out, which I thought they kind of did. And then we found out, how good Pena's ground game was, where she could secure the takedown and eventually get the rear naked choke, which happened. But other than that, I mean, Nunes will be back for sure. She'll bounce back. I just now I'm just thinking right away, okay, who's next for Pena? Unless they do a rematch clause. I don't know if you could see that happening or.
I mean, I watch every post fight for pay-per-views, so I got some talking points to make. So we can definitely get around to that. Yeah. Main event: Poirier versus Oliveira. Who did you have? How did it go down in your mind?
This one I actually did. I remember Ivan was like, "What?" I had Oliveira winning by submission. I would say second, third round. I just had a feeling he's gonna submit Poirier. I think we saw with Poirier when he fought Khabib where he gets frustrated, and I felt like Oliveira was gonna do that, where he's gonna frustrate him and get in his guard or full mount and just get the rear naked choke. I pictured it. I didn't picture him standing and jumping on his back. He's done
so
that
quick.
before.
It was almost as if Charlie was fighting me and I was in the cage. You just walked over and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He just I don't know if a fucking jab was thrown to close the distance. He just walked over to him, turned him around, and put the one hook in. And I was like, "Oh, cool."
That's it.
It was so easy. And not that it's easy to do. It's fucking decades of training. He just makes it look easy.
Yeah.
For sure. He just makes, and that's what people might, a new fan might see, like, oh man, that poor guy just let it happen. Like, no, when you're that good, it looks easy. This guy Oliveira has grown as a kid in the UFC to like literally now a man in the UFC becoming champion. And he's such a different fighter 10 years ago when he fought Frankie Edgar, where he's getting out wrestled and everyone thought, oh man, this guy's a legit black belt and he couldn't do anything off his back.
Yeah, I still remember the Cub Swanson fight where he just barely tagged him and he dropped from like a right hook. I was just, Charlie Olives is never on my radar. It's much like with Rafael Dos Anjos. You think of Rafael Dos Anjos, I'm still seeing that uppercut from Jeremy Stevens in his like first or second fight. I still see that. And then cut to, he's the lightweight champion, flying knees and shit like that. I'm like, I love seeing the evolution like that, especially these guys who it's taken literally 10, 11 years for, Bisping, for Charlie Oliveira, Pena, like this super long, almost 10 years in, not only in the business, but in the UFC, not counting their pre-UFC career. Like, I want to do a segment where it's the longest and most fights from your first UFC debut to a title fight. And this has to be up there. Him, Bisping, definitely, I think he's probably number one, maybe number two. But just the wherewithal to just keep going and to see it, and it finally clicks, like we saw what he did to Tony Ferguson. We thought no one was ever going to do that to him, including someone as good as Charlie Olives, who already had the sub record, before. I think he got the record for most subs before that Tony Ferguson fight.
No, he did. I mean, it's just like you said it perfectly. To see how this guy evolved, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm just getting tired of people underestimating him. I think Gaethje still kind of underestimates him. I think he said something, correct me if I'm wrong, that, oh, he's great. It was, awesome to see him fight. But now after seeing this now, I know it could really hurt this guy and kill him. But I'm like, stop underestimating this guy. I mean, Oliveira is the real deal. And the only thing that was worried me, I thought he was going to get knocked out. I just think he didn't do a lot of head movement, kind of came in forward. But I think he wasn't maybe as threatened with Dustin's power. I think he knew, like, I could take some to give some back and hopefully get the submission, which worked out. But other than that, this is an awesome win. Yeah.
Gaethje is obviously next. Can't wait for that fight. That's definitely going to be sometime next year, probably in the rain, closer to summer. I'm going to see right now, Charlie Oliveira has fought 2 times in 2020, 2 times this year. So that's 4 fights in 2 years. That's every 6 months. So yeah, give him another 4 to 6. Give him 6 months off. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be like, oh, he's not defending his title. I'm like, nah, guy's been grinding. I look at his record right now, and he's fought at least once every year. Twice every year for fucking his whole life, basically, it looks like.
How old was he when he debuted?
Well, he's
21.
Let me do some MMA math. He is 32 right now, and he debuted in the UFC in 2010. So 11 years ago, roughly 21.
Wow.
He beat Darren Elkins, the damage in 41. I remember that fight. Holy shit. I remember when he beat Efren Escudero, he beat him with that standing naked choke. Jesus Christ. And then I remember Jim Miller getting him in with a knee bar. I was like, what the Like, I remember the illegal. I remember all of these fights. I remember the illegal knee from Nick Lentz because he bounced up off the cage and he came back. Yeah, do you remember all of this shit, dude? Wild.
I just got to say thanks to Oliveira and thanks to Pena for winning me $180. I didn't make my picks, but I did make my picks on a bet. So I'm glad that I picked Pena and Oliveira for sure.
Yeah, how about that guy who put $300K on Nunes and lost?
Oh my god!
Oh, dude, you know if he had put that down on Pena, he would have won like $1.3 million. Dude.
Yeah, it would have
been
some
crazy shit, dude.
Jeez, I can't believe that. Wow.
Yeah, that's just Jesus. I can't even fathom what that looks like. All right. And now on to the reigning, defending, possibly and new Tapology champion. Pulling my scores up right now. I had to stay away, obviously, as you guys know, from most of these fights because I was on stage during the main event. I leave the entire main card. Basically, I was at the venue, so I had to get home or to the motel in Kalamazoo at like 2 a.m. I had to watch just the main card and skip through all the walkouts and the talking because 4 a.m. Okay, so this is going to be a very interesting breakdown right here because you guys are going to really give it to me on this. All right. I had versus Sean O'Malley versus Ryvan Paiva. I had Paiva TKO round 2. I looked at his, or actually round 1, I think. No, yeah, round 1. I looked at his record. I liked it. He was 21-3 at the time of the fight. 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 14 decisions. I don't know if it's a matter of rooting against O'Malley, wanting him to lose, and then trying to manifest destiny and make it happen. But I liked Paiva's demeanor. You know, I liked the way that he was not getting razzled by the dazzle of Sean O'Malley. The weigh-ins, he was focused. He didn't seem to really be playing into the mind games. He had a good story behind him and had been winning, 3 of his fights. Prior to that, one of those was a KO and then 2 decisions. I thought it would happen. Obviously did not. It was competitive up until the last 20 seconds of that fight where O'Malley cracked him and then threw down with a sick combo, mixing in hooks with body shots and just folding him up into himself. Obviously, Sean O'Malley got to rank 13. I do kind of like that Dana did say he is taking his time with Sean. He does not want to overproduce contenders for him. But I am curious what contender is going to give him more problems. I can look at the rankings. And they are, where'd he go? Sean's at 13, Sunsal's at 12, Frankie Edgar, Pedro Munoz, Marlon Moraes, Marlon Vera, that rematch. I mean, I think Marlon Vera deserves better than that. I think maybe Vera should get Cruz and Sean O'Malley might get a Sunsal. But God, Dan's gonna fucking knock him the fuck out in that one too. So I don't know what the future holds for Sean O'Malley. Hopefully it's good things. I'll try to get over the character of him online because I do appreciate his in-ring performances. They are fun.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put him with Edgar.
I know, right?
That'd be so
great.
dude. Sean O'Malley's like 6'1", 135, and Frankie Edgar's like 1'5". That's not good. Cody Garbrandt versus Kycar France. I had Garbrandt by decision. I thought the tactical Garbrandt that showed up versus Dominic Cruz was going to show up in this fight. I figured that he wasn't going to do exactly the thing that leads to his knockouts. And he did everything that leads to his knockouts, including getting knocked out, getting up, and then doing this shit, and then immediately getting knocked out again and right after. Like, I'm not a professional of any kind of mental health. I've noticed that Cody does have a bit of an anger problem, and he does get his emotions get the best of him anywhere he goes.
Ultimate Fighter.
If you watch The Ultimate Fighter, if you watch weigh-ins, if you watch backstage, you watch embeddeds.
With a John Claude Van Damme video.
Yeah, I thought the entire story of his embeddeds was just going to be him and Sean O'Malley finding each other talking shit, because that essentially would have been the fight had Cody won, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He gets mad. Because Dominic never tagged him in that fight, I don't think he ever had to revert to being angry and fighting that way, but he definitely did in this fight, and it led to another knockout loss. And I don't know if he needs to retire, but he definitely needs to, again, rethink a lot of things. I have no idea what's next for him. 5-1, all knockouts except for one, which was a decision loss. Wild. For Kai, rematch with Brendan Royval probably makes enough sense because he wants that spot. Royval's at 5. He's at 6. Why not?
I would like to see him fight Moraes. I think that would be a good fight.
Except Moraes is like ring number 12 right now, I believe.
Really?
9. Moraes is 9.
9, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Kai's down one weight class too. I think one of them went up, one of them went down. Is that correct? Marlon Moraes is at
Someone switched, yeah.
35, and Kycar France is at 35. So the only people ahead. Okay, so there's Brandon Royval, Alex Perez, Pantoja, Askarov, Davidson Figueiredo, the champ Brandon Moreno. So yeah, any one of those top 5 except for Davidson, I think are open right now. So Kai can take any one of them, or he can sit out a year and not get a title fight. Basically, that's how I'm looking at it.
No, but I meant like Cody should fight Moraes. Cody Garbrandt.
So should Cody go back up to 35 and then take that fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Moraes is kind of like in the same level too. I mean, I know he has a few losses in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't look, in my opinion, at the weigh-ins. That's just me, though. What do I know? I've never cut weight in my life. Jeff Neal versus Ponzinibio. I had the Chili Assassin, what's his nickname? Ponzinibio by KO round 1, because that's not a crazy.
I think he's Argentinian, isn't he?
Argentinian. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
My bad. The Argentinian dagger.
Argentine dagger. Yeah.
Argentine dagger. That's a lot of silver. I had him by KO round 1 because he does win that way a lot. He has 15 knockouts, 6 subs, 7 decisions. That just made a lot of sense to me. It's not, to me, irrational or crazy, but it was wrong. So, yeah, that was definitely a keep your job fight for Jeff Neal. I can't wait to see what's next for him. As far as Ponzinibio goes, if he is ranked, let me close that article. That was at 85. He is not ranked if that was at 85. No, that's at light heavyweight. He's 14, so he's probably going to switch spots. I think he's going to probably come down to 15. I don't think that Jeff Neal is breaking top 10 with that one. Kazmat Chimaev's ahead of him. Goddamn, Kazmat's only 11, and he's already getting title shots, allegedly, at some point soon. Wild. Fucking wild. Co-main event of the night. Let's keep it going. I had Nunes KO round 1. Not crazy. Could have happened. Good round for her. Takedown, some smashing, complete and utter dominance. Couple of chuckles, couple of smiles when she got up out of that round, though. And in hindsight, watching that, you're like, that might have been the kiss of death right there. Was the overconfidence in that. What happened in the second round, I think, was obviously Nunes wasn't expecting to not only get hit, but to get hit and stung with a jab and to get it repeatedly. I think Pena wasn't even planning on it being that effective, but as soon as the first 2 landed and she started throwing those rights in, I think she was like, oh, this is working. Let me just spam these jabs. And it worked. I think Nunes' original perception was her gas tank was bad. Her first couple of losses, people were, criticizing her gas tank. That hasn't been the case at all. But I do think, obviously, let me know when you get punched, your energy meter goes down. I think it just got jabbed down to 0. Wild exchanges. Kind of reminded me of Paul Kelly versus Paul Taylor from UFC, like 69 Bedlam. Holy shit, I think that's actually what that was. Where they just started throwing bolos, just hooks left and right. And I don't think Nunes was expecting it. I don't think Pena was expecting it either. And she just put her pedal to the metal. And obviously Pena is good on the ground. The takedown to the sub, I don't think that the choke was death. I think that Nunes knew that she just didn't have the energy to fight it and tapped before it got worse.
Yeah.
It was a very quick tap. I just think that she just didn't have the energy to fight.
I don't even think she had her hooks in.
No, she definitely didn't. She had it more like a bulldog, but from the back.
Yeah.
She was on. I think she was on the side, definitely. I just think that Nunes knew that I can't get out of this, so why make it worse? Obviously, she got up and seemed a little relieved, at least humble. I know when Matt Hughes lost in exactly that same fashion, getting rocked on the feet and then subbed by rear naked choke versus BJ Penn in their first fight, that Matt said, man, what a relief, because it's so much harder to have a target on your back than to be the hunter. She can relax now, at least, I guess. That might be the shining, the silver lining on that dark cloud. But that fight shouldn't have gone that way. There's no way that fight I'm proud of Pena. I didn't pick her to win. I'm a huge fan. She's never shown me anything in her entire career that showed me that that's the person to beat Nunes, unfortunately, but she did it. And in the post fight, she said that she now kind of has the pick of the litter. She can go up to 45 and challenge Nunes. She can stay at 35 and get the rematch there. She can go down and fight Shevchenko, or she can invite Shevchenko back up. Those are the 4 fights that she wants. She also kind of wants the rematch against Jermaine Durandamy. I think she just wants to get all of her rematches knocked back off and justified. I think the rematch versus Nunes is what's going to make the most sense for everybody financially and career-wise. Yeah, wow. Just wow. Definitely an upset for sure. Definitely an upset. I still think Sarah versus GSP because of the fashion that went down. And then obviously the Holly Holm Ronda Rousey match, not an upset if you paid attention. Main event. I had somebody winning. Who did I have winning? Where'd it go? I had Poirier by TKO round 3. Again, I don't think that was crazy. I think he's that good on the feet, but Oliveira is just that good everywhere else. Obviously, it may have been smart that Poirier stayed in guard and did not try to advance position by giving up his hips. He said in the post-fight that he knew that if he had moved anywhere but where he was in that guard position, that Oliveira would have just smashed through and gotten to a better position, and he'd rather have been defending elbows and submissions at that point. Survived the first round, got to reset in round 2, and it was just worse. Oliveira just basically walked over to him and said, "Let me have your neck," and took it, and is still undisputed light heavyweight champion, lightweight champion. He didn't put on 100 pounds. Yeah, obviously Gaethje's next for Oliveira, and I have no idea what's next for Poirier. He's probably gonna take a break off. This is his 3rd fight this year and probably like his 10th fight in 3 years. I have no idea who would be next for him. I mean, basically, if you look at the rankings, it might just all be rematches unless he wants someone outside of top 10. I mean, Chandler maybe, Beneil's on his way up. Maybe Dos Anjos, Ferguson, like he already beat Dan Hooker, so it's anyone ranked above Poirier makes sense. It's just a matter of how much time he wants to take off because he definitely deserves it.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to ask
I'm pretty much done with the card. I just have, some other tidbits to go over.
Now, like, this fight's not going to happen. Now it's just be a fantasy fight because even Oliveira ruled out, like, I'm not talking about him if he's not going to come back. But now seeing how great Oliveira is in his recent fights, how would he do if right now Khabib came back?
That's the question I would love to have answered. There's
Oliveira
so many
wins.
Really? Oh.
Who wins, Oliveira?
I think he submits him.
You think he submits Khabib? I would love that. I would stop watching MMA forever if that ever happened. That's how much I would love it. I'd be like, okay, I've seen everything I ever wanted to see. There we go.
That's it.
Yeah. It's weird because I still consider Oliveira as someone who doesn't need to take much damage to be dropped from strikes, but here he is on a 10-fight winning streak against strikers. So yeah. I don't know, man. Like, they're both tactical. I mean, Khabib kind of reminds me a little bit of Frank Mir in the sense that he's technique and horsepower. He puts a lot of strength into his submissions. Like, you're just like, wow. Where Oliveira is a little slicker. I flip a coin on that one, man. I'd have to see it to believe it. I can't predict anything on that one. I mean, I could see Khabib knocking him out too, because we forget Khabib has some KOs. He has standing KOs. Yeah. He knocked Thiago Tavares out with a standing elbow. So yeah, man, anything can happen. I might pick Khabib because that's the smart money, but it would definitely be not a surprise if Oliveira took that one.
Mm-hmm.
So a few cool things that I picked up on after at least the Pena fight was after she had won, she gets up. This is her quoting her directly. I just watched the post fight. When she was on the ground going for the rear naked, she is thinking to herself, man, I wish I could hear my corner and they could tell me how much time I had left in this round. Mm-hmm. And then the ref stops the fight, picks her up. She goes back to her corner. She thought that was the end of the round. So if you watch her demeanor, and I noticed this before I knew that, I'm like watching her demeanor, and it was very much like Brandon Moreno when he didn't process that he had won. But Pena actually didn't know she had won. She thought, okay, round's over. I'm going to go back to my corner. She's calm. She's cool. She's like, all right, serious mode. And then a second later, someone says, oh, no, you won. And then you see this, it sinks in. She celebrates. That's got to be crazy. That's got to be like, you're ready to go back to round 3 for war, and you're the champion. That's like thinking you lost a lottery ticket and it's in your pocket. You're like, oh, shit. All right, cool. That has to be one of those moments. And then the Michael Chiesa thing, that's wild. So he was a little inebriated, and he was obviously caged or ringside. And they grew up together. They both started MMA at the same time, same city, both from the Pacific Northwest. And he was a little drunk. So when she had won the fight, he was trying to jump not only the barricade, but the cage, screaming, that's my teammate. I need to see her. I need to see her. Obviously as drunken as a drunken guy could be who just watched someone win their world championship. And security wasn't letting it happen. And he kind of got into a minor scuffle with security, not enough to be arrested. So that was that whole situation. You can see him. I think there's footage of him trying to at least jump one of the first barricade. And then obviously they let him backstage. And as soon as Pena gets backstage, he is just bawling his eyes out, hugging her. He's drunk, so it's pretty funny to watch. It's like, let me hug you. Can I hold your hand? Can I walk with you? It's very wholesome. It's very wholesome. Watch the footage. I think it was on the Instagram. Yeah, it's cute. It's funny. I love Kiesa. So yeah, like the future of MMA right now. Pena obviously.
But here's the thing I want to ask. In the main event, it looked like it's weird they mentioned it, but they didn't really show replays. Yeah. Did Oliveira hold Poirier's glove?
I was gonna say that right now.
As they were talking about it live in the broadcast, it made sense. And then hearing Poirier talk in the post-fight saying he didn't know whether or not he was holding his glove, but he knew that he was trying to go for a sweep and it wasn't working because of something with his hand. So obviously ref's discretion. We could all go back. We can fine tooth comb the footage. Maybe. I mean, Rogan said it immediately. And Rogan's not one to
Yeah, he saw it.
Like, I don't know where they were. I don't know where if he was watching the live feed or if he was watching the live fight and he was like 6 inches away from it happening. I'm not saying it seems likely because of Oliveira and that's the kind of fighter he is. It does seem possible that somebody would do, whether or not they meant to do it on purpose or not. Ref didn't see it. I don't know if anyone is going to contest it. It'd be really hard to. The one thing that one of the hardest things to do in MMA ever, and I've only seen it happen once, is to overturn something based on a tactical error by the ref. Commission will never admit that their ref did something wrong. It's happened twice. Happened with Drew Dober down in Brazil. That was dirty. And then it happened in Invicta with Mike England as a ref. Tanya Evinger versus the blonde girl that I don't like because of this bullshit with the hair from Russia. Kunitskaya. Yeah. So she was stepping on her face during an arm bar, and the ref said that it was a kick to a down opponent, but it was not, and they reversed it. And I was like, wow, they actually did it. Yeah, man. I mean, we'll see how much protest we get from anybody, but I don't think anything's going to come of it. I don't think anyone's going to think Oliveira is a lesser of a fighter, unless some crazy blatant footage comes out. I think this is one of those things that we're just going to have to talk about for the next 3 days, and then it's going to be done with.
Yeah.
Who do you think Poirier fights next? You think he should fight Chandler or? Yeah,
I think Chandler's probably the best bet. They're both coming off of losses. They both need, I'd say, 6 months to 9. Let's say 6 to 8 months off. Whatever major card comes before the summer would make a lot of sense. I see them as a co-main event for a title pay-per-view. But yeah, they both deserve some time off, and I'm cool with that. I ain't gonna be mad if they take 6 months off. Okay. That would be a fight, though. Jesus Christ, that would be good. That'll definitely be fight of the year. Yeah, that's pretty much covers everything I had to bring up. Ivan, anyone? Oh, the winner.
Oh,
look at me trying to head movement. I got the scores right here, and the winner so let me talk about this real quick. I had 5 of 14 winners, 1 perfect, every single fight on the main card wrong. Every single fight on the prelims right. Or at least on the pay-per-view, like not the early prelims, but the other ones. So I lose bad. I don't know what I just went with. I mean, I picked odds. I looked at the odds. Everything made sense. Obviously a night of crazy upsets and weird shit going on. I lose. So and new, the belt does stay in the family.
Oh my gosh!
New champion with a score of 60.
Woo! Where's my belt at? Hold up. Let me get a hold on.
Oh
No. Nice.
That's right. That's right.
First off, who did you pay to do your card for?
Nobody. Nobody.
Who
I
did you
did
pay?
the card.
Who
No.
did you pay?
I didn't pay no one. I did it myself.
The biggest high score you ever had in your life. So I don't know.
Don't be hating. Don't be hating. The tear by. 2 times. 2-time. You can be 5-time, but I'm 2-time. 2-time.
We do have one more UFC card this year, but we have no pay-per-views left until 270, which is going to be in my hometown of Anaheim, California, January 22nd. So I look forward to running the prediction show for that. Did anybody else have any talking points, any predictions for the future of the sport?
Hey man, biggest fight, Paul and Woodley. 2.
Yeah, I can't believe that. We will not be covering that. I will be watching highlights on Twitter.
All I know is that
if Woodley loses, he should just
I hope, I think Paul put that 1 million if you knock me out clause. I hope that's a real thing, and I do hope Woodley does it. That would be great, but I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. He didn't do too bad in their first fight. He did rock him, put him up against the ropes.
He lost, okay? He lost.
He did lose. Yeah. But he didn't show me anything that means that he can't win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. That's pretty much it. I appreciate everybody who tuned in and watched MMA episode 13. Ivan, close it out for this side.
well, we'll be having hopefully before the year is over, we'll be doing our top 5 for MMA. We'll be doing top 5.
I'm excited for that.
The top 5 fights of 2021. It's our top 5 either we do moments or the fights. So we'll figure that one out. I'm excited for that because the Coach Rage will be part of that, and hopefully we get Coach Pena as well back for that top 5. And I'm looking forward. And yeah, this ended for the end of the year for episode 13 for MMA. 13 episodes in. I've loved it. Awesome 2021. Us, covering mixed martial art. I want to thank the host because he's the one that was the most. The director, as we direct everyone. That's right.
I do all right.
You do. No, you do great.
Yeah, I think I appreciate it. Over a year with you guys, and here's to a couple more.
Exactly. And of course, with the Mountains of Pain! With the Mountains of Pain as well. You can catch them as well on Championship on the Line podcast on their YouTube channels or any audio platform. Subscribe to them. Everything in the description will be below. Make sure you tune in to Championship on the Line. We have a lot coming in 2022 besides in the year. But yes, as the director said it, we'll see you guys on the next one.